it always felt like this double life.
Right.
And the double life really got to me, Jess.
In what way?
Well, it's like, all right, you go to a party. What do? I'm a filmmaker.
Okay, but also I work for Apple, or also I work for this.
Right. And the people love to hear like, oh, Apple, like, oh, you worked with Steve Martin, you worked with artists, or you work at a record label.
Yeah.
That's cool. But the quiet part of me was also when you say, I'm also a filmmaker, you know?
Yeah.
Or I do this as well, or I do this on the side, but it never felt like a side project. It always felt like
that was
thing.
your main thing.
Always.
Yeah. Welcome to Fortune Podcast. I'm your host, Jessica Elijah. Today we have an incredible guest, and his story is going to inspire you. Everybody, please welcome Laurence. Hey, Laurence.
Hello, Jess. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here today.
Very exciting.
Me too.
So on top of it, I'm very impressed.
Thank you so much. So to get just right into it, how do we know each other?
How do we know each other? My sister, also named Jessica.
Yes.
You and Jess went to LMU.
Yeah.
Were you film school as
Yeah,
well?
I was a production major, yes.
Exactly. So you guys were film school buddies, and we met, at least 10 years ago?
Yes. I can't believe time has gone
That's
so
it.
fast.
Every day is just
yes.
boom.
Yes.
But yeah, and you're doing your thing, and I'm doing my thing, and we're gonna
get
talk
into
about
that.
it.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
So to just take it right into the very beginning, what did you want to be growing up?
Ooh, I didn't want to be a filmmaker originally. I thought I'm going to be a lawyer or a basketball player.
Oh, interesting.
Because my dad was a lawyer. I
Okay.
thought, oh, that's cool. He has a briefcase. He looks professional. But then I was a giant Lakers fan. So I thought I'm going to do this. But that definitely did not happen.
Okay. At what point, did you realize that wasn't going to happen, or how did it manifest in your childhood?
So there are two moments. I think, let's see, I'm going back here.
Back into the archives.
Deep archives. When took a film class sophomore year of high school, and then my aunt got me this. Well, she actually got it for herself, like this old HDV camcorder, and then I kind of started using it and making little short films with my friends.
Okay.
And then in high school, I just became like a movie obsessive person and making films and teaching myself how to edit and on the old school iMovie.
Oh, nice.
And then went to film school. So I did 2 years of community college.
Okay.
Santa Monica College.
Got it.
Shout out to SMC.
I took a few classes there too as well. I feel like almost everybody in LA.
Which I've never done. I've never given them a proper shout out, but it's actually a great.
Okay,
great
shout out.
Correct. And then I got into NYU for film school.
Okay,
and I
amazing.
remember a very distinct moment. This is after I had, decided I'm going to do this for a living, but I was in my NYU dorm and there was a Laker game on and it was like, East Coast time, the games go on later.
Right.
So it's like midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. Kobe just airballed something. I was just so angry because I invested 3 hours of my time into this, and then the Lakers lose. I'm pissed off.
Right.
And I had this big moment where I realized, oh, I can watch a 3-hour movie and learn and just feel inspired. Even if it's bad, I'm still learning.
Right.
And I felt like that's a better use of my time.
Than being upset over a lost basketball game.
So I kind of went in full steam ahead, and I just gave up all things sports.
Really? Did you play any sports growing up?
Everything.
Oh,
I
wow.
played baseball, basketball, swimming, tennis. My dad wanted me to be the next Pete Sampras tennis athlete. Didn't happen. Sorry, Dad. But yeah, so I feel like I took the competitiveness from sports and just watching Kobe and Jordan, these people, and then just applied it, into a rigorous film or die mentality.
Got it.
Which we can unpack later.
Okay. Sounds good. So you made an investment in yourself that more aligned with an outcome that you could live with either way.
Yes, there's the financial investment with student loans and private schools, and then there's the emotional investment.
Which is sports, which I know all too well.
Yes.
So it was sophomore year that you started to get into film, or did you have any kind of inklings to be creative younger?
Yes, big time. So I feel like I was kind of indoctrinated into the movie making process very early because my dad had an old Hi8 camera.
Okay.
Remember those old school cameras you could make VHS tapes?
Yes. Because
Okay.
mhm.
We're still in the
Yeah,
same
yeah.
realm, the generational realm. So my dad would just film us,
Mhm.
little movies, and then Jess and I, my sister and I,
Mhm.
we would do these like mock SNL
I
videos
love that.
or mock American Idol,
Mhm.
and then my dad would immediately after the tape was done, he would dub it to a VHS tape.
Wow.
So we would already see this like filmmaking process in a way,
Right.
whereas it was an instant kind of gratification.
Mhm.
We're gonna have fun, we're gonna make this thing, and then we get to experience it,
Right.
and then it's a tape that's ours.
Got it.
And so I feel like that very, very early on, my dad taking so many photos, there was just already like this documentary archive element
Yes.
happening.
Yes.
And then my mom was also into the arts when she was
Okay.
younger. So I just
Okay.
feel like it was
In your DNA
a little bit.
almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though both of them went on to do different things.
What did they do? Just out of curiosity.
My dad's a lawyer.
Okay.
And then my mom works in commercial real estate.
Oh wow.
And so, yeah, I feel like they passed on some of their little art bug to Jess and me.
Yeah, I think you guys have all of the creativity right now in the family.
Yeah.
So what made you choose NYU? Because you grew up in
Here.
in
I
Los
grew up
Angeles.
in LA, right here in this room.
Oh wow.
No, I'm kidding.
Just right here. But there's USC Film School,
Sure.
LMU, UCLA. What made you want to go to NYU?
So the story that I like to tell is high school is hard to be motivated. And so then I went to community college, and the first week they had a little seminar. Here are all the schools that you can transfer to, right? And I thought, because I grew up in Westwood, I thought UCLA Film School.
It's right there.
I'm a Bruin. This
Yes.
makes sense. And they went down the list and they said, okay, who wants to be a sociology major? Here's how many people they accept. Who wants to be a film major? And it said, oh, well, they only take 15 students in their film program, or like
Wow.
15 to 30. And I was
Yeah.
thinking, okay, so that's going to be a very competitive thing. And so the first year I applied to Chapman, and I didn't get in for like some credit reason.
Okay.
And then the second year I applied to NYU, Emerson, USC.
Right.
Got into all of those, but USC I only got into for critical studies,
Okay.
which
yeah.
is film theory,
Right.
analyzing films, and then NYU got into for production.
Right.
So that was a no-brainer. And I also just had a vengeance against USC as a UCLA.
Like, how dare you? Like, yeah. Oh, because of the UCLA thing.
There's
okay,
a
got it.
UCLA USC rivalry.
Okay, got it. Me, I didn't actually even know that.
Oh yeah, runs deep. Yeah,
Okay.
it's like a crosstown rivalry.
Right, like a Clippers versus Lakers thing.
Same.
Got it. So, your flash forward to you went to NYU. How was your experience there?
It was the best.
Okay.
What I kind of tell people is that you could go to any school in New York and just you're in the city. It's just a melting pot of culture and inspiration, the pace, the energy. That was so invigorating and also so different than LA.
Right.
In LA, you walk into a coffee shop, people are judging you a little bit.
Yeah, there's a little bit of like a uppity like
Who are
vibes.
you?
Yeah.
Head to toe, kind of glance up. New York, no one gives a shit. And just being on a subway where everybody from every single background is on the subway, you are inconsequential.
It's so true.
And it's just very humbling.
Yeah.
Because don't you also have an East Coast? Do we talk?
No, I've been to the East Coast.
But you have a New York spirit about you.
I do. Thank you for saying that, because like low key, I feel like I'm like from New York, even though I'm not from New York, but I have friends that live there. And when I do go to visit them, anytime I run into somebody from the street, they're like, are you sure you're not from here? I'm like, no, but I can be.
I feel it for sure.
Okay, awesome.
Because there's a direct kind of, in LA, people are nice.
Yeah.
And in New York, people are like direct. And
But
sometimes
still kind-hearted. That's like, I like that
correct,
part.
because there's like kind versus nice.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not to I mean, I love LA.
You're like, hold on.
No,
Love
but
you
I
guys.
took a lot out of it,
Yeah.
And so it really changed me, I think, in a way where, okay, I had this little chip on my shoulder, like,
Right.
why are there blue skies in LA? I need skyscrapers and whatever. I came out of it like a little pretentious, like I just went to this film school. But then I started to appreciate LA once I moved back.
Right.
As a place you can kind of grow.
Yeah.
And if you have a film shoot as a filmmaker, you have a car. You could put all your equipment in a car.
Exactly.
What do you do in New York? You
Go on the
schlep it on the subway. You have to rent a little zip car or
Yeah.
something. So these like little logistical things that were actually very helpful later on.
Right. That helped kind of maybe give you a little bit more grit than maybe you would have had here in Los Angeles.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, I got my training wheels there. They were definitely, I'm processing a lot of this stuff now
Okay.
as the film industry is going through a identity moment
Right.
beyond moments. But basically when I graduated 2011, it was the advent of the like the 5D DSLR, which gave birth to these cameras that are
we have
filming
here.
us, right?
Yeah.
And like Adobe Premiere was a new editing program, and Final Cut, and there are all these tech changes happening, and also the advent of social media.
Yeah.
Like video wasn't even on Instagram.
It's true. It was all pictures.
Correct. So within the last 10 years, the industry that I thought I was going into looks a lot different now.
Right.
And so that's made me kind of like think about film in a very different way, and also as a career. Is it
Right.
sustainable?
I hear you.
I want to have kids. I want to have a family. Can I
Yeah.
also do this and?
Do all of that, be on set.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we could.
Yeah, we'll get into that. We can get into it right now because
Okay.
today you're doing so amazing. You just filmed or had a premiere of your film this past Tuesday, which you'll get
Yes.
into. You shot an amazing music video. I know you did in collaboration with your sister.
Yep.
And you're doing amazing things. So can you walk me from your journey of graduating college to now?
Sure.
Because for me, at least, my path after film school was not clear. It kind of was like, go into the world. And I had no
same.
idea what to do. So curious of your path.
Yeah. Yeah. The film school thing, I think they did a really good job at teaching you the skills. But then I think what happens is then you get into the real world,
Yeah.
and there's all these other elements at play, like networking and luck
Right.
and strategy
Right.
and who do you know, those kind of things. So I think for me, I had done 2 internships, finished film school, came back to LA, all my resources were here.
Right.
And let's see, how do we sum this up? I did an assistant editing job for a really not so great movie. They fired me because I wouldn't work weekends because they didn't want to pay me for weekends. And
Interesting.
it's just like, oh, here's a flat rate. If you don't want to do it, whatever, we'll move on.
Wow.
But that was kind of like my first paid gig.
Right.
And then I did an internship because I thought at the time I want to be an assistant to a producer.
Right.
Or like, how do I become a Hollywood assistant?
Right. What did you want to be like? Did you want to be in directing track, producing track? What
I
was
started
your track?
the whole time. It was always directing, but I don't think. I mean, how do you get paid as a director when you're like a 21-year-old squirt, unless you have already directed something that got someone's attention?
Right.
So I think I was kind of leaning on I really enjoyed the producing industry stuff.
Right.
Because I had already kind of interned and learned about it, like being in the know, reading
Right.
scripts. I read like Django Unchained before years before it was made.
That's
you know?
amazing. Wow.
Just like, being, and so eventually what happened is I got a job at a company called Entertainment 360.
Okay.
Previously called Management 360. And they produced Game of Thrones, Steve Jobs movie. They were a management company and a production company.
Awesome.
And so I got a job as a mailroom trainee.
Oh, so that's how you got it.
That was my first job.
Yeah. So where did you was it a job posting Indeed, or did you have a connection? Like, how did you even get in the room?
Junior year of NYU, I came back to LA for the summer and I interned at a production company, which is now called Good Universe.
Okay.
And they had done Juno, 50-50, like a lot of those great coming of age movies, Neighbors, stuff like that.
Right.
And so the director of development there, this woman, Mary Lee, I would read scripts for her sometimes, and she just kind of liked me and thought I was, there's like 15 interns there.
Right. Right.
Everyone's unpaid. Everyone's reading 3 scripts on a Sunday and pitching them in a meeting with executives.
Wow.
So the internship culture has changed very much so.
Yeah.
But that was also kind of a rite of passage. Like everyone knew, if you really want this, you're going to work for free and work your tail off.
Right.
But so cut to post graduation, I had hit up my colleague Mary, who's really sweet, and she floated my resume to the HR person.
Awesome.
And the Ambrosia, the sweetest director of HR there, she's saying, yeah, so it looks like you know Mary and you went to NYU. And I said, yeah, I went there. And she said, oh, that's NYU's a cool school. And I started to realize, oh, it carries a lot of weight.
Yeah.
And whatever. I think there's a lot of problems with modern day college stuff. But so that was my first job. And it was the greatest first job at a film school because what I like to say is I had to pay to learn stuff from college. And then suddenly I was being paid to kind of learn how it really works.
Yeah.
So the managers and the agents are the gatekeepers of all things information.
It's so true.
And so at any given time, I was covering scripts, binding scripts, delivering them to everybody.
Right.
Like go to a random like chicken place at a strip mall. Shia LaBeouf's going to be waiting there with a director.
Yeah.
Give him this package.
Right.
Or like Ava Mendes in a hair salon. She needs this script by 5 p.m. Or like seriously, all this stuff.
Yeah, do all those like cool things, but interesting.
So it was that, and then also I was covering desks for these very like aggro managers and people who would yell at you if you screwed up.
Right.
But so that was 6 months of learning how Hollywood worked, and so then that kind of gave me a lot of confidence. They would set up meetings with their clients, set a general meeting.
Right.
And so I just kind of realized, oh, this is how you do it. This is how kind of you build your community. And so then from that job, I kind of parlayed that into a director's assistant job.
Interesting.
And so I left there after 6 months. I took the summer off. I taught stop motion and filmmaking to kids at a camp called Technotainment.
Okay.
Literally.
Never heard of it, but sounds cool.
It's a cool little camp. And then after that, I got an assistant job to this guy, Josh Trank, who was doing the old Fantastic Four movie, which is full circle because the new one literally comes out today.
And I'm going to watch it today.
So there's something in the air.
Yeah.
And so that was a wild job because I was interviewed in the morning at William Morris Endeavor. And then he hired me the same day and I went over to his house and just started working.
Wow.
And so I became his right-hand gatekeeper. I had my own office on the Fox lot.
Nice.
I had my own golf cart.
This is a big deal.
At like 20, maybe 26. It was cool.
Yeah.
And then, I was also, the head of casting, VFX, art department, agents, managers. Everyone would come to me to get to him.
Right.
And so you start to kind of see after you leave a job like that, who are your friends and then who are the people who are just trying to use you to get, you know what I mean?
Right.
And but I'll never forget the end of that job. I was talking to the assistant director there, the first AD, this wonderful guy named Cliff Lanning. And he had AD'd Batman Begins and David Fincher movies and stuff, or commercials. And I really wanted to pursue my own stuff, but I didn't have the confidence to.
Right.
Because when you're an assistant, you were full time, like at that level.
Yeah.
Like
there's no time for anything else.
Yeah. I somehow made time to do a short with Jess. Like we did a short film together, which we filmed at LMU actually in the soundstage there. But so he said, are you married? I said, no. He said, do you have a girlfriend? I said, no. Do you have kids? No. And he said, if you're going to give this directing thing a shot, you should probably give it a go now.
Okay.
And so that was beautiful advice because my grandpa had just passed away and I just felt like I was a servant to this guy, like a creative servant. And I wanted to service my own dreams, And so I quit and I left and it was the greatest decision. It kind of put me on a completely different path. It gave me the confidence when I would send my short film around, like, oh, I can do this. Or like people don't see me as just an assistant. They'll see me as a director. You know?
I have so many questions because you just dropped so many gems. So to start, how was your attitude like when you were first starting in the mailroom? Because most film school students, they don't graduate film school after 4 years in student loans talking about, oh yeah, I'm gonna be in the mailroom. Though you were delivering to some cool, like high status people, was that what you expected? Or were you like, you know what, let me keep my head down. It's gonna be okay.
I think I'm definitely recovering people
Okay.
pleaser.
Got it. Me
I
too.
I think a lot of people are. They just don't want to admit it.
Yeah.
So I think for me, I just wanted to. It's kind of an intense environment, but it's kind of a wonderful community. Like a lot of the assistant friends I actually still talk to because you're going through the trenches together.
Right. It's like trauma bonding a little bit.
Oh, big, like full trauma bonding. Yeah. Like, so what was my attitude like? I just didn't want to get yelled at. I just wanted to do a good job.
Yeah.
And you would often not hear, and this goes for a lot of workplaces, you only hear when you do a bad job, not when you do a good job.
It's true.
But I don't know, it was a cool kind of like post-college environment, and yeah, I'm grateful for it. You know?
Yeah. And then for the assistant job, did it feel like a step up? Because I feel like there you kind of had power a little bit because everything had to go through you. And it shows you the power of gatekeepers and like knowing who is important and who's not. Because sometimes people could be an assistant. Let me overlook them. But they're
hold
the
a lot
ones.
of power.
It's so true.
It's funny. They hold power when they hold power.
Yeah, that's true.
When they're not
when
in
they're
power.
able. Yes, yes.
Yeah, I think that one was tricky because I was basically, managing personal and business scheduling.
Everything.
It was everything, like not getting paid for gas mileage, getting paid literally $600 a week, on call 24/7.
Really? The rates are that low?
Yeah, and then I realized later, I found out from someone at Disney that I should have been paid, like
much more. Yeah.
But the way it works in Hollywood as an assistant, if someone has a project, then they work your rate into the deal.
Right.
So, but I think for me, it was very cool because also you're rising up, as you know, you're rising up with people. So then suddenly I had other friends who were working for cool directors and cool producers and stuff like that. And so we actually started like a little collective on the side where we would workshop ideas and,
nice.
Yeah, I don't know if that answered your question. Like, what was my attitude?
Yeah, well, not even just the attitude, but just to see how you felt because the conditions might not have been like maybe you're not getting paid as much, but then it's like now compared to the mailroom, it's like, okay, at least like I'm getting to meet cool people. I'm reading all these scripts. Everything goes through me. And I think maybe where I was also going with it is that it taught you like what's important, what's not. Maybe you saw different personalities and how things work. Now, my last question, at least following this part, is when you decided to quit.
Yes.
Was it like cold turkey? Like, did you have anything lined up, or were you just like, you know what? Let me just pursue my dreams.
Right. Well, I think what had happened was I had gained confidence by directing my own stuff, and so it was a very cool job to have at a young age, but I'm trying to think. Basically, it reached a point where I kind of wanted to do my own thing, but I did not I don't think I had anything lined up.
Interesting. So that was a bold leap.
Just emotionally, but also, like I said, my grandpa passing away was just such a giant like event that happened. Like we were supposed to release this short film, my sister and I, and then my grandpa passed away and we had to push the release. And then, when you lose someone like that, someone who's really important to you, it puts shit in clarity.
Right. Quickly.
It does. And so, that's where I think there's this whole culture of quiet quitting. And even New York Times had an article about, I think millennials or young people. I don't know if you read it, how they're having like mini retirements. Yeah. And so,
I take mine all the time. I'm always traveling.
Totally. Yeah. And so, I just had a little mini retirement myself.
Yeah.
I think there's a generational difference where our generation has realized, do I need to put myself through all of this? If I'm not happy, there is absolutely truth and power and reality of paying the rent.
Right.
It's all about your resources and what you can or can't do. And so some people just have to stay at a job that they don't like.
Right.
But for me, I think I was still living at home. The movie kept getting pushed and pushed.
Right.
And then I was kind of waiting to see what would happen. And then the moment that I left, I went through 6 months of I'm going to build my directing career. Does
Okay,
that kind of
awesome.
pivot and answer?
I think so. Yeah. And then how was that process of building your directing career? Because now maybe you're fresh off of like maybe like grieving a little bit, but then you're like, oh, life is maybe fragile. It's now time to put my things in perspective. Plus, like I want that balance. I want to be able to get married and have a family for myself while also pursuing my dreams.
Right.
But sometimes we do those things, and for most people, it's not so like clear of a path. So how was your path towards your directorial? Because today now you're doing okay, but like how was it when you first started?
Yeah, it's so interesting. I think I'm actually going through stuff now that I went through then in different ways.
Yeah.
But so basically, left the assistant job. I remember going to my dad's apartment. He had this pool, and it was the first day where I wasn't on call.
Wow.
And I was literally just like
just
floating.
relaxing. You're like, wow, this is life.
Oh my God. It was like a giant release. It was like this dopamine hit or something.
Yeah.
But those next 6 months, I directed, I think, 2 spec commercials because I had this idea. I'm gonna become a commercial director.
Right.
Okay. So I do a fake commercial for Shazam. I do a fake commercial for Icebreakers, and I was friends with cool actors who were just kind of rising at the time.
Right.
And my old producing professor at NYU, this guy Jack Leshner, who's now the chair of Columbia's grad film program, he was one of my biggest mentors and allies, and he graciously passed my name along to all the big commercial houses.
Wow.
So I got all these meetings with Radical Media and Pretty Bird or Smuggler, like some of these cool places. And I'll never forget, I went into Radical Media, which is a very cool company. I love their stuff.
Yeah.
And I showed the head of commercials or something, my stuff. And she said, I think you kind of have more of a narrative sensibility. And I said, yeah,
I hope so.
Totally right.
Yeah.
Because for me, I did not like the confines of a 15-second or 30-second thing.
Right.
As a filmmaker and storyteller, I need a long form format or tapestry to do something. And then I realized, oh shit. All right. Well then, because my idols for me, Jess, were Spike Jonze, Paul Thomas Anderson, Cameron Crowe, and they all, maybe not Paul Thomas Anderson, but they all started off doing something else. Spike Jonze was a photographer for skateboard magazines and doing videos, and Cameron Crowe was a rock journalist before it became a filmmaker. So I was trying to figure out, if these are my idols, what do I do before I can do the feature stuff?
Right.
And so I think what happened was, I was living at home and I needed to get out, and so then I got a job working as a documentary filmmaker at a nonprofit called Volunteers of America.
Amazing.
Los Angeles wing. And you talk about, like we're talking about career and broad strokes and connective tissue.
Right.
The only reason I got that job was because that summer camp that I taught at the year before, one of the kids' dads was like a friend of mine's. I knew him through another friend who is his sister. Doesn't matter. But the point is that I got a job.
Right.
I was able to move out. And then I was kind of introduced to an incredible experience that most people don't get to have.
Yeah.
I was making short documentaries on alcohol and rehab centers and Head Start programs in East LA.
Right.
And there was someone there who was teaching like narrative therapy and meditation to kids. And I was just like a fly on the wall. And it was really grounding and humbling because it made me appreciate all the things that I had. And, I could talk at length about, social class and how that plays into my career. But so that was the next gig.
Yeah. We'll talk about the social class because I know like maybe how you grew up is like very interesting if you can get into that a bit.
Totally. Grew up in Westwood. Parents got divorced when I was 6. Mom moved to Beverly Hills to get us into the public school system.
Right.
And so we grew up in Beverly Hills. And I met some incredible friends there. But then there was also this kind of divide between the kids in high school who would drive Lamborghinis and BMWs.
Casually.
I mean, maybe not a Lambo, but definitely a Porsche.
Right. At least.
versus my grandparents' 99 Toyota Camry, which was my first car.
Right.
Okay. And so, that was definitely a weird thing. Or, all the kids at school have the new Jordans. I'm going to ask my dad to buy me the fancy Jordans.
Right.
Even though we really shouldn't be spending that kind of money or like dropping hundreds of dollars in 2002 on shoes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so for me, the social class stuff plays a huge role because very early on, especially growing up in LA, there's kids at school who are actors or whose parents are entertainment lawyers or plastic surgeons, like super fancy careerists, kind of like Hollywood people. And for me, I always felt more aligned with working class stuff, like, so I feel like the stories that I wound up telling and the stories I were writing were all kind of from, underdog point of view.
Right.
Because I did not feel like the majority there.
Right.
I felt like I had other friends who were like more on my socioeconomic level. But yeah, it was interesting. And then just to add to that, and tell me if I'm talking too much.
You're not talking too much. I'm learning a lot. And I'm sure everybody listening is getting a lot from this because it's good to understand like just the psychology behind like, not only your experience, but like what shapes you as a person, because we have so many different types of people in the industry. And it just shows that you don't have to come from like one singular path. So please, yes.
Yeah. I just started developing a really quick vetting skill, which probably made me too judgmental early on, was who is authentic here and who's not, who's trying to be someone, who's actually like,
who has it.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that materialism and kind of like celebrity culture, it really does influence and define a lot of LA, even down to the weather. Like what I tell people is that you take the weather away from LA, that's actually when you see the city, because if it's a rainy day, I don't know, people are not as chill. It's kind of interesting, that effect.
Yes. Wow. And I think that's maybe something that I try to reconcile with, and why I like the New York thing, as we talked about, because there's this thing of trying to look away versus actually being that way. And over here, we see it a lot, even in influencer culture, social media. That's like a huge
Don't get me started.
Okay, then I won't. But
no,
yes, so to kind of bring it like to where you are today, what are the projects? Where are you now? How are you feeling?
Yes.
Do you feel like you're in line with where you want to be going moving forward?
Yeah, it's super interesting. You're catching me at a time when I'm in very deep reflection mode.
Yeah. Okay, good.
So the last, the last like 8-9 years, I had day jobs, and was continually building my film career and my directing stuff, right? So I worked at a record company for 4 years, ran their video department,
amazing,
commissioning, directing, editing, like everything. It was kind of like a dream job. And then I worked at Apple Music for 4 years and had a very different role, but was also around really talented, cool people, and it allowed me to pay the rent and feel stable.
Yes.
And also simultaneously very challenging to continually output creativity.
Right.
Because the corporate world is very draining sometimes.
It is, and it can be.
Yes. And so for me, I just was very diligent and rigorous with my schedule. Like all extra time would be dedicated to writing for 4 hours, on a Saturday or a Sunday, or squeezing in meetings or like meeting with actors. And then also, so it always felt like this double life.
Right.
And the double life really got to me, Jess.
In what way?
Well, it's like, all right, you go to a party. What do? I'm a filmmaker.
Okay, but also I work for Apple, or also I work for this.
Right, and the people love to hear like, "Ooh, Apple!" Like, "Ooh, you worked with Steve Martin, you worked with artists, or you work at a record label." That's cool. But the quiet part of me was also when you say, "I'm also a filmmaker,"
Yeah.
Or I do this as well, or I do this on the side. But it never felt like a side project. It always felt like
that was
thing.
your main thing.
Always.
Yeah.
It was very much, for better or for worse, a film or die mentality.
Yeah.
Because I told myself, the narrative I told myself is if I allow any room for doubt, that I would lose a competitive edge against all the other filmmakers who wanted it as much as I did.
It's so true. It's so true.
And so I think now, much more than 10 years ago, I could be wrong, but this is just how I feel. It does feel like there's more filmmakers, more actors. And I think it's strictly based on accessibility. You know, auditioning now from a casting point of view is done remotely a lot of the time.
It's true.
So I don't know, you don't have to necessarily be in LA to tape for something. Anyone can learn filmmaking 101 on YouTube.
It's so true.
That was never the case. You had to like buy a book or like take a class.
Or enroll into film school.
Or go and spend God knows how much money going into a film school, correct?
Yes, yes.
So, you know, that's definitely changed the game a little bit. But I think back then for me, I just wanted to keep it going,
right?
Keep it alive,
right?
And I used the projects at the record company. Like I would pitch on projects against other people, you know. So as a commissioner, I'd try to find directors to direct a music video, and I would also pitch myself.
Amazing.
So I would like build my portfolio concurrently. But just to jump ahead, you asked, what am I working on now, right?
Yeah.
So let's see. My sister and I, we just released a music video. So this music video is for this giant old school song, Spirit in the Sky. A lot of people have probably heard it. They may not know the name of it, but it's been in so many movies like Guardians of the Galaxy and The Longest Yard and Ocean's 11. And it was just a song I always heard. Yeah. And so last November, the same record company I used to work for approached me, and so we put a pitch together, and it was Jess's idea, and they greenlit it in January,
right? And
then January to June, which is a long time for a music video.
Yeah, it's true.
Usually music videos are like super quick turnaround. We hired a casting director, a friend of ours, Zach, and we got these two wonderful actors, and we really approached it like a real movie because I just feel it's just us. It's just like movie. We love movies, and we really responded to or were influenced by, you know, Ferris Bueller's Day Off and Almost Famous, and these really fun, like free will anti-establishment stories.
Yeah.
So that one came out. That's been fun. And then, like we were talking about, we just had the premiere of a short film that I directed last summer that just produced, and we had our premiere at LA Shorts, which is I guess the longest running LA film festival.
Right.
So it felt really good to just have a hometown screening.
Yes.
And you know, some of the crew who were in town and available came out, and just good to see a short film on a big screen.
Right.
Spirit in the Sky is very much a fun, simple joyride.
Right.
You know, it's about two kids, two teenagers. One of them gets grounded. They take away his phone, all his tech. He's like freaking out. And he decides to steal his dad's Mustang. And he picks up his friend, Sam, and they just have a great day. And the other short that premiered this week is a very different story.
Okay.
And so this one is about a threesome gone wrong.
Okay.
based on my own true story.
Okay.
But it has kind of a dark turn. And so that story was very cathartic to write about. Right. And there's a lot of investigation into intimacy and consent and microaggressions and like some of these deeper, more nuanced things that will get written out of a traditional like threesome scenario. So that's what the new one is about, and that'll be online after it finishes the festival kind of circuit.
Okay.
And then what's the other one? And then
you're working on a lot.
You kind of have to.
Yeah, that's good.
I do feel like creatively it is healthy to not get attached to like one thing too much.
Right.
And then you kind of bounce in between things. And then this other one, I have a monologue series that I direct and produce.
Awesome.
And for me, I really enjoy it because in between the larger projects, I always have ideas for characters. You know, I'll like write a monologue for a character, and it maybe doesn't have a place in like a feature script, but what if I could just do like an abstract little identity piece, and it's just me, an actor, a DP, and that's kind of it. And like maybe a couple other crew members instead of a full on like 15 to 20K short or music video or whatever. So we're making one next Thursday.
Awesome. Fresh off of like a premiere. Good for you for keeping it going. Yeah.
Trying to, yeah. So those are the immediate ones.
Okay.
And then there's always more.
There's always more. But I guess to wrap it up before we get into our end of podcast questions is, do you feel like you're on the path that you should be on? And are you satisfied basically with where you are now?
Ooh, satisfied is an interesting question.
Okay.
I think that I'm so satisfied with the work that I've done creatively.
Okay.
But I think the idea that I had for myself for like the end career goal, it hasn't manifested the way that I wanted it to. Like at this point, at 36, I wanted to be directing features.
Right.
And so because that hasn't happened yet, it's made me really look inward and have some tough mirror moments. You know, does that mean that I'm a failure because I haven't done it yet? It's actually made me have a more expansive, healthier view.
That's good.
On myself, because I realize that the dreams can have an ampersand. It doesn't have to be a period. Like I was saying, film or die.
Yeah.
Well, what if I can still be creative and want to have a family or want to do other things? And so it's made me appreciate the day jobs that I've had, while still not like, I don't have to give up on the film thing just because it hasn't worked out the same way that I
thought it maybe would have.
Right.
I love that. Very introspective. It's going to get me thinking, and it helps you to just reframe your journey, because as like a young something, you're like, okay, I'm going to do film school, then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this, then I'm going to be famous, and it's going to be so easy. And then we see that the path that we
because that's what they sell it as.
Right.
You know, and I'm sure we'll
talk offline more about it, but still, I think it's a longer discussion that needs to be had. And I thank you for sharing your story, because on the outside, it's like, oh, super successful. Like the resume is long, but then nobody kind of sees like the emotion behind it, the hard times, and maybe even the rates. Like you're working cool jobs, but maybe you're not even making enough money to really sustain yourself and be okay in LA as we have it today.
Absolutely. You know, Instagram is just an optical illusion. What's going on actually like down in real life is so different. And, you know, it's just, I think it's important to like, it's important to be kind to yourself.
It's true.
You know, and also draw boundaries and don't sell yourself short. And, you know, you figure out how to advocate for yourself.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. Amazing. Well, the first end of podcast question is, what was a struggle bus moment for you?
Struggle bus is like, what was just a tough moment that I persevere through? What was just,
you're like too many to think
there's
of.
a lot. I know it's been a tough life sometimes. I think, I mean, if I'm being honest, it's just romantic relationships.
Yeah.
Like some of the relationships I've had have had some tough endings.
Yeah.
And they've also been really healing because, you know, they say when you end a relationship, and by the way, it could also be a creative relationship, you know, or a friendship.
Right.
There's like a party that grieves a little.
Of course.
Because it's the loss of identity, you know, especially in a romantic thing. If you're one with one person, then that it's like, oh, who am I without that person?
Yeah.
And then also what I've really tried to do, like really, really worked at, is what are the things I'd like to change about myself? You know, in the past, I wasn't good with confrontation. Let's work on it in therapy.
Right.
Instead of just repeating the same behavior.
In cycles.
Yeah. And self-compassion and speaking up, or like, what are my boundaries? And anyway, so struggle bus. Yeah, there's been some struggle moments.
Yeah, I appreciate your honesty there, because a lot of people don't like to admit that, but a lot of people are going through that.
Yes. Yeah. I could, you know, whatever career, there's struggling career stuff, but like, let's be honest.
Yeah. It's matters of the heart that really affect you the most. What moment were you most proud of yourself as it relates to your profession?
Well, I think even though no film school is perfect, getting into NYU was a magical feeling. It was magical because for me, I didn't just go to like a university. Going to community college, you kind of have an expiration date.
It's true.
Like you have to transfer out, or you can get a AA degree or like do something else, which is totally fine. But for me, I wanted to get a BA.
Yes.
So NYU, I was like, I'm not a religious person, but I would literally pray every night.
Yeah.
Like,
please let me get in, Lord God,
I need to get into the school, right? And so I'll never forget, I was in my bedroom and I got home from school, I think early. So it was like 12 or 1 o'clock and no one else was home. And just to set the scene, this was 2009. Okay. Stolen mail was like, oh my God, we're gonna get some mail today.
Yes.
And I heard the sound of a heavy
thick
white
package.
manila envelope.
Right. Yeah.
You remember that sound?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I heard the sound and I go, and I ran. I just gunned it through the hallway,
Oh my
socks
gosh.
sliding on the wooden floor, opened the gate, like opened the thing. And then I looked at it, I was like,
You got it.
Oh my God, I got it. And I
Yes.
called my mom at work and she started crying
Oh
and
my
I started crying.
gosh.
Because it really was
It's a big
dream.
moment. Yeah.
And so that was, the beginning of the career. But
Right.
there's a lot of, I'm very lucky. Like I'm very grateful working with the people that I've worked with. Like working with Steve Martin on his music videos because he's an amazing bluegrass artist. I had to literally psych myself into not fanning out. Okay, like I practiced meditation for weeks before.
Oh my
Like this is one
goodness.
of my comedy heroes. We're gonna keep it together.
Yes.
We're gonna
And
keep
did you?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
For sure.
perfect. A true
Had to.
professional. What does success look like to you?
Success looks like something very different to me now
Okay.
than when it did when you and I were younger.
Yeah.
It really does because there's something that happens when you get older that you don't have the luxuries of like being a 20-something and assuming that everything will work out.
Right.
Like life will hit you in the face, and it depending on
Many
your priorities.
times. Yeah.
For me, like I talked about, I would like to have a family. I'd like to own a home at some point.
Yeah.
Like these things are important. And so for me, success looks like a healthy work-life balance or even an opportunity where I get to be creative and I still can be happy. Because there's so many people in the industry and friends of mine, we're all just hustling all the time. And, a feature film can take literally years
To make.
just to get financed.
Right.
Okay. And then let's say you make it. And this is what I've been talking about, how the film industry is a casino metaphor.
Right.
Right. And so very early on, we're talking about what are the things that like matter what people don't know about.
Yeah.
Right.
It's true.
So, okay, you could be a savant, like an artist, like a true and tried artist, like the next Picasso or whatever, right? It doesn't matter.
It's true.
Like you have to have luck and you have to kind of like play the game. And,
Right.
of course, there are those exceptions to the rule. Billie Eilish, 16 years old, whatever, overnight success. But most successes are not overnight.
It's true.
And so I feel like now that I've gone through the gamut of all these events, I would just like to kind of keep valuing the things that are important and not just have it all die on the creative hill.
It's so true.
Does
That's
that
a good.
answer? Okay.
I mean, any answer would have answered it, but I think that's a good answer for sure. Happiness should be a part of success for sure. So I like that answer. Our final question for the day is: what piece of advice would you give to people who are trying to reach their dreams?
Okay.
Yes.
So I heard there's this woman that I started following on Instagram. I think her name is Sinead. I could be getting it wrong.
Okay.
She is kind of like a AI thought leader, a new leader in the AI and educational space.
Okay. Awesome.
And she's been really kind of getting into my head in a good way. She said, when kids are young, the question they have is the question that is asked of them is, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Yes.
Right? And she said, if technology is changing so quickly, if the thing that you want to be when you grow up is not around, then what kind of path are we setting our children up
That's so
up
true.
for? And so that started to get me thinking about, what is the dream goal? Like if you want to, what's advice that I would give to someone? You know, if I could totally give advice, and I have, to younger filmmakers, but I would also kind of caution them to figure out, what does the whole life look like?
Right.
Like if you want to be a filmmaker, how much are you willing to sacrifice? Are you willing to sacrifice your social life, possibly your romantic life? Are you willing to learn things that you don't want to learn because you have to level up and be competitive? Are you willing to go through your bank account? Are you willing to self-finance your movies? Are you willing to wait later until success comes, because it may not come early?
Right.
You know, are you healthy? Are you comfortable with yourself? Are you getting into this for the right reasons?
That's a big one.
And that's the one that really troubles me, Jess, because I don't like, maybe it's just like a millennial thing, but I'm starting to see a lot of filmmakers who document their process and advertise their process. And okay, so maybe they have more followers than me, and maybe they're getting ahead. But isn't the goal like you're supposed to make the stuff? And then are you just better at advertising than you are at storytelling?
It's true.
And I guess you could be a good storyteller who uses advertising.
Yeah.
But I just feel like, okay, what are you trying to do this for? Figure out your end goal.
Right.
And what do you want your life to look like? And is it possible with the career you're choosing?
This is wonderful advice. And all these questions, even in our conversation, I'm going to go back, maybe find my journal.
We're going to both have to do.
Yeah. And we're going to have to follow up on this conversation, because it's really getting me to think clearly and kind of to think far. Sometimes we only see what's in front of us, or like, what's your next year look like? But it's getting me to think about, like, even 50 years from now, what does that look like? Yeah.
Because it doesn't, my Aunt Lori would try to get me in the headspace of 401k is important, these things. And I would just kind of write it off. Like, what do you talk? Like, I just need a paycheck, But, I think that's the benefit of getting older. It's like the body's not working the same, and I can't drink wine
at a certain time or too much
because I get a little sleepy. But that's the part that you gain is like, okay, now you can have a more accurate vision of like reality versus fantasy.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for our conversation. I really appreciate having you here.
Yes, of course. Thank you.
That was such an amazing episode. Laurence gave us so much. Please make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and check the description for all of Laurence's details, his projects, his films. Until next time, besties.